Hey everybody, this is Matt Fish, owner and founder of Melt Bar and Grill. Welcome to our monthly segment. This month we are with my good buddy and mural artist for all the Melt locations, Jake Kelly. He is a local artist here in the greater Cleveland area. He's done amazing things, amazing murals for us at Melt. He's been a poster artist for quite a number of years. We've known each other for a very long time, back in the music days of our younger youth.
Punk rock,
I guess you'd call it. But anyways, I'm gonna let Jake do most of the talking today because we want to get inside his brain, inside his head a little bit. I'd be very scared if you're watching this video. If you're gonna get inside Jake Kelly's head, you're not prepared for this, because I'm certainly not prepared for this. But Jake, tell me and tell everyone at home watching this video a little bit about yourself. How did you become an artist first and foremost? Give us a little bit of your background.
Well, I've always drawn. And I think ever since I can remember, when I was 4 years old, holding a pen and scratching on the back of, pieces of paper, whatever was lying around the house, back of electric bills or whatever, drawing woolly mammoths and dinosaurs and stuff. And then, high school was a great time to hone my craft because I hated it. And I was always bored in class, so I would fill page after page after page after page of, various, monsters or Swamp Thing or like punk girls or whatever.
Did you draw on your the homework you handed in? There was always like a little drawing up in the corner.
Yeah, and then they would say in red marker like "Stop doing this," and then I would do it the next time. And then
did that drive you to make you better, or just more of a smart ass?
It was more like that idea of getting your 10,000 hours of work in before you can really do something well. And it was 4 years of high school. However many hours that turns out to,
probably
I pretty much threw the entire time, except in art class. I got kicked out of art class a lot because I didn't do the work.
Because you wanted to do your own thing.
Yeah,
you didn't want to make the diorama or the.
I didn't want to draw a pear in a vase or whatever.
You didn't want to make the Jake Kelly version of that? Or
no, they didn't like that.
Oh, you wanted to they said, here's the box, son, you have to stay inside this box. And you were breaking outside that box, Jake.
I guess so.
Punk rock.
And well, speaking of punk rock, that was really how I started getting, it was probably the first time anyone ever actually saw my work, is because, we were in punk bands and stuff, and I started making flyers for our own shows, and I would draw whatever weird, monsters and stuff that really probably didn't fit with the bands or whatever, but it was like, I feel like drawing monsters, right, so monsters you get. And then I moved into a place called Speak in Tongues, which was like a local club here in Cleveland. It was like a DIY type space, and I would do posters there and stuff. And at a certain point, my girlfriend said, hey, why don't you do flyers for like the real clubs here in Cleveland? Because Cleveland has a great history of, like Dave Cintron, Clay Parker, my mentor, Derek Hess, amazing poster artists. So it actually seemed like a thing that a person could do.
Right.
Go draw posters for this club and make I don't know how much money, Right. So I went to the Beachland and the Grog Shop and I showed them sort of, this portfolio of kind of crummy posters. Looking back on it now, sort of crummy. They were generous to be like, we'll give you $20 a poster for this. And then that really got my work out there. And it was sort of dumb luck when I look back on it that I was like, I gave these people drawings and then they put them all over the city.
Right.
So people saw them and became familiar with my work. That was not part of any forethought or plan on my part.
But it was a cool residual effect of what happened, that your art was being plastered all over every coffee shop, bar, all through the clubs. If you walked into the bathroom for a show coming up in 2 weeks, you saw a Jake Kelly art.
I remember walking over on Mayfield and Euclid over there, in the kind of collegey area, and 3 different flyers of mine were tacked up to telephone poles, and I was like, this is pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then it was,
finally made. Is that the day you I've made it.
I cashed the check and started my drinking problem.
I made it, Mom. You told me I was never going to make it.
Click. And I haven't spoken to her since.
And she's watching this video right now.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Jake Kelly's mom.
And then, I was doing flyers for the Grog Shop for a few years, and they were going to move locations, and they wanted a new mural for the new location, and that was, and again, in sort of not really thinking, not planning ahead, and also sort of bluffing, which has been a big part of the art career for me, is she said, "You've done murals before, right?" And I said, "Obviously I've done murals before, of course." And I don't think I'd ever drawn anything larger than an 11 by 17 piece of paper, maybe. And this was going to be like 16 feet wide, and 4 feet tall. And, you know, I got it done. I think the good part about, or the necessary part about bluffing, let's say, is that you actually have to follow up on the bluff.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to follow through, and I was able to follow through, and I got that mural done, and I think that might have been, like, flyers aside, I remember you mentioning the Grog Shop mural when you wanted a mural.
Yeah.
That it was, you'd seen that, and like, you're like, oh, he could actually do a mural for me too.
That was really the reason that not the only reason I contacted you to start the murals at Melt, but yeah, we had that space in Lakewood. You remember the hallway that was coming into the new side, the new expansion we did.
Sure.
And we had these blank walls in there in this long hallway entrance, and I thought it was very boring. It was painted this ugly yellow, not ugly yellow color, but it was our yellow color. And I was like, we can make this a lot more interesting. And I do remember when the new Grog Shop opened up, and I had been a fan of your artwork, and we'd been casual friends when the Grog opened up. So I remember seeing the mural, I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. This is a great addition to this new space here at the Grog Shop. And then a couple of years later, it clicked. I was like, oh, I should get Jake to draw a cool mural for Melt. We'll make it very Melt-centric. So, I mean, you obviously remember, but the idea for the first mural was people walking into Melt, like all of Jake Kelly's creations, walking into Melt and then exiting Melt. But I threw in the wild card and said, but I want every single person in this mural to be from Cleveland. I want to use old Cleveland celebrities, people from the past, people from the present. I want to do all these old buildings and old signs and all this kind of stuff. And
that worked for me because that really clicked. And I don't know what it is, but certain of us who live in Cleveland sort of develop an obsession with Cleveland. I would say it was nice to be able to draw on my vast knowledge of Cleveland esoterica and kind of distill it all into one thing. Little did I know that, I thought, this is it. This will be my final statement on Cleveland.
Yeah.
Little did I know that it was going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Bigger and better. Tell me about the research that you do for the murals, because I'm always blown away, and I'm very intrigued about the actual time and effort that you go into researching every mural that you do for us.
Like I said, the first one was almost automatic, where I was, just off the top of my head, I was like, it has to have this, and I would, I had telephone poles with made-up flyers on it, and I don't even think I made a list of bands or anything, just a master list. I was just like, okay, this would be the Choir, the Pagans, and whatever.
Yeah,
four random tropical birds, like random shows that I wanted to like exist in this weird alternate Cleveland universe. And then the Cleveland Heights mural is almost entirely made up of people, so I did do like more research then. I went to the library, the downtown library, one of my favorite places on earth, and went through Cleveland history books and would find interesting TV people that I didn't necessarily know about off the top from the 60s or whatever that I wasn't even around for. But this mural was the absolute most research I ever did because it was going to be so huge. I don't know what the dimensions are on the Lakewood mural.
The Lakewood mural is the smallest mural that we've got. It's probably only 8 feet wide on both sides, so call a total of probably 16 feet wide, and it's only probably 4 to 6 feet tall. And then the Cleveland Heights mural is pretty much doubled. We kind of doubled that. And then here we are in Independence shooting today, and we have a portion of the mural behind us that we actually pushed through the wall, not physically pushed through the wall, but when we expanded to the other side.
It wasn't like an old video game where you're like, oh, this part is glowing, we'll push against the wall, and it moves back, and you've got a new
some haunted mansion,
an antechamber.
Yeah.
But yeah,
this is 19. Let's see, we went from we went from like 6 feet tall, 12 feet wide to up to 19 feet tall and probably 22 feet wide. I think we're here. No, sorry, 50.
Yeah, this is more like 50.
We're 50
wide.
or 56 feet wide. I don't know. We're gonna get a tape measure out later, and we're gonna tell you officially how wide this is. But
it was a much larger surface area, so I thought I have to think of something that is pleasing to the eye and interesting and can fill this entire area. So I thought,
well, also, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but also you had to incorporate the WMS billboard in the middle of it.
That's true.
So we started with saying, Jake, there's going to be a 20 by 10 billboard, actual billboard on this wall, and you have to draw the mural around that billboard. So you had to incorporate that billboard.
I remember.
Are you starting to get the shakes? Are you starting to freak out a little bit again?
I'm like, I got to draw this again or something.
Wake up.
He's so mean. So I went back to the idea of research. I somehow through the previous murals, I had found like all kinds of old crazy Cleveland signage and stuff, from old places that were around in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Old club signs and stuff like La Cave or whatever. So I went to the downtown library and researched old, I guess they would be like zoning photos, where people went around and took a picture of the sign to make sure it was up to code and stuff. And it almost is like a bizarre Google Street View from the 40s or something, or the 50s.
Yeah, I remember you showing me those pictures. They're black and white photographs that are on every street corner, and there's like a little A-frame sign sitting down that says on the A-frame sign what street corner they're at and what business they're photographing, and then there's a picture of the sign and the street corner, and if there's an old car parked out front, it's in the photograph, or somebody's walking by there in the photograph.
Yeah, so that was an amazing resource, and I found all kinds of crazy signs, like the one over there, the Egg Palace, that said all foods prepared in butter is their claim to fame, and I was like, this has got to go in.
Yeah.
But this one, and this one is probably the most work, like the most, because doing all of this lettering in one tick.
Do you remember how long?
It was like a crash course in sign painting almost.
Yeah. Do you remember how long this mural took, start to finish?
I think
I know
this
it says
took
somewhere.
maybe 2 or 3 months.
Okay, 2 or 3
I want to
months.
say, and he had just opened up the Milk Commissary in Asiatown, and I was living in Collinwood, so I was riding my bike back and forth to there. Then I eventually just started sleeping there.
Yeah, we have a big warehouse space that Jake basically took over to create this enormous mural for us at Independence. And you lived at the commissary. You lived in our warehouse for almost a month and a half.
I ate at every restaurant in Asiatown, and it was great.
Yeah, like I would go to work in the morning, like, hey Jake, what's up? Some days he had been up for like 36 hours straight, and he was starting to hallucinate. And I'm like, Jake, you need to go take a nap, or you need to go back to your apartment and take a shower.
And I hissed like Nosferatu and went back to
he went back underground. He lived underground at the commissary. We actually created a underground bunker for him. So that was that. Those were good times.
The veracity of that last statement. I've never lived underground. I don't know how that rumor got started.
But on that topic, when you create the mural, there is a process that goes along with creating the mural, because you and I have to go to Home Depot. We have to go buy panels, because these are all on 8x4 panels, wooden panels. Then you have to paint each one white to get yourself a canvas to start on. We go to the art store, we buy a whole bunch of ink and pens.
It's always fun.
That's always fun. So Jake and I get to hang out together every day, and why do I look forward to it? Because I get to buy a candy bar.
Oh yeah, I buy him a Snickers on my dime.
That's right. So Jake buys me a candy bar every time we go. So I love every time we get to make a mural. Cause then I'm in the store. I'm like, what kind of candy bar do I want, Jake? Do I want to buy a Payday? A Snicker bar?
Payday?
My 2 Snickers. So I've just started buying both of them, and I'll eat them.
He's gotten greedy.
I have gotten very greedy. I mean, we're talking about $4.50 candy bars here. You got the
he buys the king size too.
I do. Oh yeah, forgot about that. So we're almost in the $5.50, $6 range for my candy obsession and addiction. So, anyways, but it's fun watching you do it, because you do it in your apartment because you have a big space.
Right.
However, this is a long process. We're talking about a month to a 2 month process.
Yeah,
and you're living
generally
and breathing
is
this mural.
And I compare it to like it's the
a fine wine.
It's the Cleveland artist version of going on a shrimp boat or something, where you go out for 2 months But then you come back and it's like, all right, I got a paycheck. What did I miss?
Get wild. Yeah, I've been gone for 2 months. So you're basically on a voyage when you go when you do a melt mural. You're pretty much on a shrimp boat. You're going crab fishing up in the upper regions of Alaska. You're away for a couple months.
But instead of crabs, I'm pulling out obscure Clevelanders.
Got it. Or people from Ohio or Columbus, or we're working on the Dayton mural right now. So there's a lot of things from Dayton, or the Akron mural is all centered towards Akron. So yeah, maybe let's talk about beyond Cleveland now. We've done 2 murals in Columbus now, which were the first color murals that we've done ever.
Yeah, I wanted to do something special for the first non-Cleveland melt, and I thought, well, let's do full color crazy, and I had also had the idea to do it as sort of an amusement park theme, going through all of Ohio, because the Columbus mural is basically like a floating amusement park
in the sky.
And you can see that it, on the far end of the mural, it starts in Cleveland, and you can see tiny roads beneath and stuff, and it goes all the way to Columbus. So, and I just didn't think that black and white was quite gonna cut it for that one, because I was like, it needs like crazy vibrant colors. It needs to look like an amusement park. It's like that kind of eye gouging.
Let's talk about we'll get back to that. But that made me remember. Let's talk about the process that you and I go through when you introduce mural ideas to me, because I remember when you introduced that idea to me, because this style has pretty much stuck from day one. So Lakewood, Heights, Independence, where we're at, and Mentor, those are all very similar type murals. They're black and white, a lot of characters. Sure. I mean, there's some interesting aspects of it, but they're all pretty much along the same lines. And then when we went to Columbus, you presented me with a kind of what I at the time thought was like, this is a little out there, Jake. I mean, he basically came to me and said, I want to create a mile-high amusement park, Ohio-themed amusement park in the sky, a Melt Ohio-themed amusement park in the sky, and it's going to be an overlooking of the amusement park, and there's going to be cracks in the ground, and you're going to see down to Ohio, and you're going to be able to follow 71 south from Cleveland to Columbus, and there's going to be all this interactive stuff going on. And this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it in color. And I was like,
now that I hear it out loud like that, it does seem crazy that I present.
Isn't that exactly what you said to me?
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much. There's going to be roller coasters flying at you in the face, and there's going to be people, and there's going to be like this. And I was like, I know Jake. I don't necessarily trust Jake, but I know him very well. But I know he's a very talented person, a very talented artist, and I like how Jake's mind works in a very awesome way. And I think we can relate on so many different things. So I was just like, all right, man, I trust you. Here we go. And that's a very large mural too. Well, it's probably very comparable to this size mural.
Absolutely, and I think one of the things that made me, again, I guess this goes back to bluffing, and I was bluffing myself this time, is
you were lying to me?
I had just done a mural for one of our favorite record stores here in Cleveland, Blue Arrow Records, and it was, I think that one is probably, it's like an 8-foot by 8-foot square,
yes.
And I had done it in color, and that was the biggest thing I'd ever done in color, which made me think, I bet I could do a whole melt mural in color, and then I guess I locked myself into it, and we did it. And it worked out well, I think. That is, after this one, which just has this sort of very nostalgic, fun time, crazy summer kind of spot in my heart. That first Columbus one, just because it was so crazy, and I was trying new things, and basically, making a giant painting that you're not sure that you can pull off is thrilling and exciting, and when you pull it off, it's very satisfying.
So you say is your favorite mural? I mean, obviously the 4 Cleveland ones.
This is still my favorite one.
The Independence mural. Why is it your favorite?
Well, like I just said, it's got it was just like a fun. I had a blast making it. It was the biggest thing I had ever done at that point. I never, imagined that I would ever draw like one
Something
image this big.
Right.
And when I look at it, I can remember, oh yeah, that's right, I drew that right after I had the Todd Munn from Cyan Cafe. And I drew him right after I had those delicious dumplings from Wonton Gourmet.
So everything is related to the food that you were eating at the time.
Yeah.
The lack of sleep, the beer that you were drinking, and the food from the Asia town that you were eating while you were living in our warehouse space drawing this mural.
Like a rat.
Like
So it's just I have fun making them all,
right?
And they're all a hoot, but this one was particularly.
This one, to me, yes, was a very. And this is also my favorite mural, but this represents a time and a place, and I think in both of our lives, where we were really, as a company, as Melt was, we had opened. Lakewood had already been open for a couple of years. Heights had just opened because you just finished in 2000. That opened in 2010, so we did the Heights mural, and this was 2011. So we were getting into our third location, and this was going to be huge. And the company was transitioning into what it is today.
I can kind of remember thinking, sort of pondering you, like opening up this commissary, and I was like, this is obviously not just going to be for these three restaurants. That this is and it felt like something cool like is about to take off here, and like this company is going to Melt is going to
turn into something.
I remember having a dream at that point that you, me, and Griner were at the opening for Melt LA, and I was talking to Charlize Theron, and John Griner was talking to Steve Buscemi, and I remember thinking, I actually would rather talk to Steve Buscemi than Charlize. Hold on, but it was like a wild party, and I remember waking up and then I bet that could actually happen at some point. You never know.
Maybe someday, Melt LA. And for those that don't know, John Griner is John G. He's the other local Cleveland artist that we work with, a very good friend of both of ours. He does all the poster art for Melt. There's a lot of his imagery spread out through Melt, on our website. He does all the monthly posters for our features. You can see him on our Facebook page, our website. And John and Jake,
he is, when I'm not drawing murals for Matt, I'm drawing show posters like John does, and John and I have a comic book called The Lake Erie Monster, which is a sort of ongoing Rust Belt horror series. All the stories are set in Cleveland, different spooky tales and stuff. It's a very nice, tight-knit little Melt family.
It's very cool, all the people that we get to work with here locally, and I get to work with some of my really good friends, which I'm super excited about. So. But getting back to the murals a little bit, what's coming up? I know we're working on Dayton is almost done. We're working on a Cedar Point mural, but not necessarily location-wise is what's coming up. But how has your approach to a mural changed since call this the Independence mural, which was really like the turning point, the biggest thing we'd ever done? Now going into color in Columbus, we have 2 stores in Columbus with the color. To me, those murals are after Easton opened up. There's a definite change between every mural we've done after Easton and before. We can call that BC. That's before Christ, and then BE before Easton, and then Akron is the next mural. And it seems like this stuff going.
Well, Akron was another sort of turning point for me, where I was a little bit tired of doing the same sort of frontal scene. Where you create a landscape and then populate with all these things.
Right.
And I, was looking through Akron, and the most interesting things I found from Akron, to me at least, weren't the sort of celebrities, but they were these sort of vintage photos of Akron, like children getting pulled in a goat cart or something.
Right.
And then I had them all sort of sitting out, and I thought it would be more interesting to kind of make a almost collage of all these images and create something that just moved your eye around.
Right.
And I threw a sort of postcard font Akron in the middle of it, and I liked the way that it looked. So going forward, that's basically the same format that Dayton is in, except there's a lot more text on the Dayton mural where I'm sort of explaining what the photos are, because I guess that was a problem with Akron, that people were like, what is this a photo of? When is this from? So I sort of, annotated the Dayton mural.
Jake puts a lot of very obscure, references in his mural that he and I get because he and I have these conversations. Because
My interests are my own. What can I say?
I'll ask him. I'm like, Jake, why is this person or this person? What is going on here? And he'll tell me, so I know. But the general populace that go to Melt and even our staff doesn't necessarily know why there's 2 children being pulled by a goat in a cart in the after mural. It makes perfect sense to Jake Kelly.
I have to sincerely apologize to all the Melt employees who've had to deal with who's she. Who is he? I don't know.
Well, we do have a key. The majority of the Cleveland murals and even the Columbus murals, there is a key that you can follow along if you want to ID every person in the mural. And tell the kids at home for the Dayton mural, what are we doing? What are we changing?
There's text actually on the mural. So, I again pulled these sort of scenes out, like 2 swell-looking dudes in front of Joe's bar or whatever. But actually, this time I said, who
are these?
When it's from, and who these people are, et cetera, et cetera. And I sort of across the top of it tell the story of the Great Dayton Flood of 1913. I've got Irma Bombeck in there. She's a famous Daytonian and then humorist, and she's hilarious. And I got a quote from her in there, kind of a comic form. So, the Wright brothers, it sort of tells the story of invention of the airplane, all that kind of stuff. So this one is actually, I guess, the first narrative mural that I've done, I guess you would call it.
We're getting really in depth now. We're getting into it.
So, yeah, that was fun. Cool. And then Cedar Point is coming up also, and when I was looking, that one is going to be different from all the other ones too. It'll probably be more like this one, because when I was looking through Cedar Point, there's a lot of very interesting photos of people, sunbathing and enjoying the park from, whenever it opened,
the late 1800s
to present day. But the most interesting thing to me were all of the crazy signs that were all around the park.
Me too. That's always been some of my favorite part about Cedar Point, the signage.
Like, I was like, I want to redraw the Iron Dragon sign. like this, this will be very cool. So this one is hard to explain, but sort of a collage of signs, all kind of overlapping and at various depths and stuff. It'll make sense when you see it. That's another thing that I say to him when we were setting these up is, it'll make sense when you see it. Just trust me, boss.
This is exactly how he explains murals to me. Is he'll draw on a piece of paper. He'll give me a piece of paper, and he'll do a little doodle on here, and it's going to kind of look like this. And people are going to be over here, and there's going to be like some burning buildings down here. But don't worry about the burning buildings, because it's going to make sense. And then there's going to be this, and then I'm going to hide.
It's true, folks.
I'm going to hide 24 beer bottles in here somewhere, and it's going to be cool when people find them. But
forgot about that.
But I promise you that it's going to work out great when it's done. And this is how much it's going to cost, and I'm going to start next week. And I'm okay, Jake, let's do it. I'm excited about it.
It's very cool that you let me do that. I mean, I remember the first sketch, you have it framed on your wall. The very first sketch that I did is a very involved, very detailed sketch. And they've degraded over time because we've sort of developed a shorthand about...
Now now it's literally stick figures. It's like 2 dudes, like a stick guy stabbing him, and I want to do this. I'm like, all right, Jake, let's just do it.
Hey, it's worked out so far.
Knock on mural. Knock on mural. So wait. Another funny, not really necessarily a funny story, but
a sad story.
No, not a sad story, but I do remember when we were first working on the Akron mural, you had some crazy elaborate idea for it that you scrapped. Do you remember that?
No, I don't. It's ringing a bell now. It might come to me in a moment.
It was like some sort of psychedelic-y weird thing that you wanted to do.
Well, it was sort of.
You presented it.
Imagine how the mural turned out. The initial idea I had,
by the way,
was far more psychedelic and bizarre, and I think I did a couple of drawings that were in color, and then I just sort of looked at them and I was like, these are kind of grotesque. These are not suitable for a restaurant. This would work at like a rock club or like a dive bar or something, but people are going to be eating next to this, and if this is in their eye line, they're going to be very disturbed by it.
Sick.
So it'll.
I thought you would actually start the mural and you had to paint over it.
I did. I had started chunks of it, and then there were like, be like someone's face with these like lines radiating out and stuff.
Remember it. Now I remember the drawing, and you were like, again, this is going to turn out great, man. Just wait. Don't just trust me. Trust me. That's Jake Kelly's famous reference. That last word, just trust me. So what? Start to finish doing a mural, what Now, I know your answer is going to be when I finish it. That's my favorite part about the mural. But like the process, what's your ultimate favorite part about doing the mural from start to finish, excluding the final product?
Well, let's look at Columbus. Has a lot of examples of what my favorite part of doing the mural is. I had never come at one of these murals from that sort of perspective it is. So it's like it'll be harder to draw at this perspective. And then I was like, I don't know how to mixing up paints to draw the road. I'm like, how dark should I make the road? Should it be like a light gray or a very dark black? And I'm like, I tried it out in black, and I'm like, no, it looks weird now. It looks like there's telephone lines down there, so it's got to be a lighter gray. And then just sort of trying stuff for the first time. And these are always like a great sort of proving grounds for new ideas that I want to kind of try, and thankfully most of the time I'm able to pull it off. There's always a few clunkers that I'm like, didn't quite nail that, but gets the point across type areas.
But I'm just here for a paycheck, so I don't care.
Yeah, and I'm just, you know what, hey, I'm in it for the money, baby. But I guess the freedom that these give me to sort of experiment on things that starting at drawing a 19-foot tall, 54-foot wide drawing, that's a good thing to be able to experiment with.
Oh, for sure.
And then, doing like crazy full color paintings that are almost that same size. And I literally had to print out a color wheel and tack it to the mural because I have no formal artistic training of any kind. And I was like, what's on the opposite side of the color wheel from yellow, I wonder? And then I Googled color wheel.
Boom, there it popped up.
And then I was like, so I was, trying to figure out how different colors work well together and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I love coming over and seeing when you're working in the mirror that you've got black and white or color, just like 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper just tacked up all around your apartment or here. Like this, when you were drawing this guy, you had his picture right here, and you're kind of drawing him on here, and how everybody works together somehow. It's cool to see.
I love doing all the research. I love planning them out. I love painting them, and I love it when they're done. So I literally love everything about doing these murals.
So Kelly loves the mural start to finish. So maybe it hasn't, but has you doing melt murals like open doors for you to do other things, like in Cleveland or beyond, or
it certainly has raised my profile to a far higher point probably than just doing punk flyers and show flyers would have, because you get such a different audience coming through. There's a huge overlap of the rock club type people, but then there's also like people who would, never would see my art and stuff, and who I'll be randomly talking to people who seem to have no connection to the punk scene with it. And then I'll say, oh, my name is Jake Kelly, and they'll say, oh, you do the murals for Melt, don't you? or something like that.
That's cool.
I'm like, that's weird.
You don't go to rock clubs.
I'm like,
oh, weirdo. No, I have too, and for me, that's a fun part of working with you and John too, is that we all kind of grew up together in the same music scene. That's how we know each other, and that's why we became friends. But now our friendship and our working relationship has just extended way beyond that. That we get to work together for the foreseeable future. But I feel cool because I'm able to help you guys, and not necessarily that was the wrong word, help you guys, but I can take you and other people along with our success. Did you ever think you were going to have a mural in Dayton, Ohio, or at Cedar Point, or beyond? I think it's really cool that we get to do these together, this stuff together.
You absolutely are the rising tide that is carrying all of our ships in a way. And when we talk about you behind your back, it's always positive.
Bullshit.
You know what? He's so great.
Oh, that Matt. He's wonderful.
Isn't he dreamy?
I love when that check cashes.
Money, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what else is on the script?
I don't know. I got a good question. So this will be out in May. We're releasing this on our May newsletter. So also in May, first we're going to announce our new location in Avon, which hasn't been announced yet. So you will be working on the Avon mural. So are you excited to be kind of coming back home, coming back to Cuyahoga County to be doing a Cleveland-centric mural again? Because we're going to have a far west side location for the first time ever in our existence. You know, so you can include a lot of Cleveland, also a lot of Lorain County. I'm excited about that because my family is originally from the Lorain County area, so I want to incorporate a lot of like the working class, the farms, that kind of thing. The Lorain County.
I'm from the west side, so I'm excited about that. It is when you told me that, it gave me a real thrill because I was like, oh, this will be like the Cleveland homecoming mural, where the returning samurai who's going to take everything he's learned and create the greatest Cleveland mural of all time.
Yeah, because we love Cleveland. In 2012 was the last time that we did a Cleveland mural, and we've done 2 Columbus, an Akron, a Dayton, and a Cedar Point. So there'll be 5 murals that you've done since. And so your craft is
all very different.
Yeah,
all
very
different kinds of crazy. So hopefully maybe I can draw on all of that I've learned and create. If I could create the ultimate Cleveland work of art, it would be. I could die happy.
So we should anticipate. My expectation should be the ultimate Cleveland mural.
Yeah. Nothing short of an absolute masterpiece that might make you faint. It's so good when you see it.
You're hearing that now, people. Okay, I'm gonna hold you to that.
I don't think that's that much.
Okay.
To ask for.
Cool. Anything else you want to add? You want to say about Jake Kelly Arts? Jake doesn't have a website, so we can't promote that.
Follow me on Instagram, Condor.
I'll tell you his cell phone number so you can call him. If you want to do any art, you want to call him, go ahead and call him.
Who was that guy that came out? It's like a rapper, and like the hook of his song was his cell phone number. Who was that?
Tommy Two-Tone. Well, Jake, we've discussed so many different things today.
All over the map.
All over the map.
All over the map of Ohio.
We had all these questions here, and we stuck to a lot of them. Some of them we didn't. But I think we had a great conversation. Honestly, I've known you for over 20-some years now.
It's been a long time.
And I know more about you now than I did before we started this interview, and I'm very happy for that.
Oh, good.
I'm glad that we're friends, because believe it or not, Jake Kelly and I did dislike each other for a very long time, going back into the music world that we were in before.
Years? What are you talking about?
Huh?
This guy's crazy, everybody. This is the dark brain you don't want to probe.
That's right. No. All that aside, Jake is an amazing person, an amazing artist. I'm honored to be working with him.
Thank you.
Yeah, the work that you've done for us at Melt has been phenomenal, and literally you have become a part of the Melt culture. When people walk into a Melt location, they expect to see a mural. It's not when we are planning to open a new location. It's not if there's going to be a Jake Kelly mural. It's going to be like, where are we going to put the Jake Kelly mural, and what's it going to look like, and how big or small it's going to be, and what's going to be the theme. Even our construction manager, who doesn't, he has a lot of artistic ability, but he didn't know you from Adam, didn't know who this guy was. Now, he's like, well, where's Jake's mural gonna go? I gotta create a place. When we're designing the space with our architects, we have to create this place for Jake's mural. And now he suggests to me the areas of the building where we can put the murals, which I think is really cool.
That's very flattering. And, I've loved every second of us working together in our long relationship, and I hope it goes on another, million years.
Million years.
Yeah. Melt Venus.
Melt Venus.
Maybe the atmosphere worked out on Venus.
Yeah. John G still thinks we're going to have a melt on the moon at some point. So
I would love that.
If that happens, if we open a Melt Bar and Grill on the moon, I want Jake and John.
I only have to draw like 18 people in a big flat lunar landscape. It'll be easy breezy.
Easiest money you made. No, but I want you and John to do a collaboration mural. If we go to the moon. When we go to the moon.
When?
I'm sorry, when we go to the moon. Sorry. So, well, Jake, thank you, dude, for everything. You're an amazing person. I'm glad we're buddies. So, thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you someday, but please go check Jake. Please go check Jake's murals out at all the Melt locations. There's not one particular one that's better or worse than the other. All 7, 8, 9, 10 locations. There's a Jake Kelly mural. If you want to go and see him in his transition, go to the Lakewood one first, and then kind of go forward from there, and you can see how they were created. They transitioned into one style, the next style, the next style. So there's not one that's better or worse than the other. However, Jake and I both think the Independence mural is the best, and that's my personal favorite, and it is Jake's personal favorite. So thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you at Melt Bar and Grill soon.